Hey everyone, it's Don with Don's Field of Dreams. Hope everyone's doing well. So I'm going to show some stuff today that, for the most part, are not baseball cards, but I call them part of my baseball card collection. And 99% of what I'm going to show today is either Stan Musial or Roberto Clemente, and probably 95% of it's Stan Musial. So not a whole lot of variety, but that's who I like and that's who I collect. So I thought I'd just share some of these with you. Just to me, cool stuff that aren't necessarily baseball cards, except for the first two. You know, the reason I like Stan Musial and Clemente so much are their ties to Pittsburgh. Obviously, Clemente played here, so it's kind of a birthright to be a Clemente fan if you're born and raised in Pittsburgh, just like I would imagine Ted Williams is in Boston, Mickey Mantle in New York, Mike Schmidt in Philadelphia. Just a few, for example. We didn't choose to be fans of them. It's just ingrained in us from our families down, because even though I was alive when Clemente played, I was too young to remember. And Stan Musial had actually quit playing baseball before I was even born. But he's from Pittsburgh, a little town called Denora, 40 minutes from where I live. And my dad was a salesman back in the 50s and 60s and all through the 70s and 80s for Colgate, Palmolive. So he used to call in these little mom and pop stores. And he never got to meet Stan Musial, but he did call on his in-laws store that they had in Denora. So I always thought that was cool. And, you know, Stan's just seems like he was just a great guy. And he reminds me a lot of my dad, not baseball-wise, but just they grew up in that same era. And I just felt a tie to Musial, and it's cool that I can go down to his hometown. There's not much there. It's a pretty depressed area, but I can still go see the house where he was born. There's a field named after him, and there's a bridge named after him. And so it's just kind of fun to walk around and say, well, I'm in the town, in the streets where Musial once walked. So the first couple cards are the Red Man cards. So these are probably the only baseball cards that I'm going to show. And I kind of picked oversized stuff. You know, they just have a unique story. You know, some of the guys now have the actual tobacco pack that these came in, which is pretty cool to find. And then you got the exhibits postcards right here. And this one here was given to me as a gift. And I was like, yeah, I already have it, but I didn't have it slabbed, so it was kind of cool to have it slabbed. And then our resident expert, Stukes, said they're actually two different cards, which I never realized that. If you can see the shadow down here, that this one does not have. I don't know the reasoning behind that, or maybe Stukes knows, but, and he's kneeling, so of course I like that. This piece of Clemente is actually tied to Musial, this Dick Perez. I don't know if you can see it here. It came from Musial's collection. Now, was this something that Musial had sitting out and showing? I doubt it. He was probably given a ton of these and maybe to sign his, and they were probably sitting in a drawer somewhere, and, you know, they were just considered part of his collection, but still part of his collection, which I like. The thing that is amazing to me, I've looked everywhere. I've looked on Getty Images. There's a guy that Rick Oddball Cards gets a lot of his photos from. I've looked there. I've searched all over eBay. I cannot find a photo of Clemente and Musial together, which is hard for me to believe. There's a ton of Musial with Aaron and Willie Mays, and same with Clemente with those guys, but none of them together. There's one All-Star game where they show like 8 or 9 of them. It's like a faraway shot coming in of them walking on the field, but they're not even near each other, and it's their backs, and it's not a great photo. But another Musial from one of the picture packs. This piece here, I got in Strongsville a few years ago, and it's unique that it's actually a photograph. And Scott Reindeer, I think he got a satchel page of some type. I'm not 100% sure from this guy, and he took me over to him, and he had this Musial photo from spring training. And because he doesn't have a lot of cards, I look for neat things, unique things to get. And because I don't buy a lot anymore, very, very little for now, that'll change someday. I like to, at least, if I go to Strongsville and Nashville, at least get one piece, maybe two, but not break the bank, but find something unique. And I'm always looking for cool stand stuff. Postcards are just great too. This old Forbes Field, another gift from a YouTuber. And it's always neat to read the writing. I kind of like when it has the back, with addresses and something written to them. This one was sent to someone in Massachusetts, and I don't know, maybe it was a family member that moved. It was a connection, but just a cool old shot of Forbes Field. And another gift, another Clemente piece. And again, a lot of this stuff is not really rare or super expensive. It's just stuff I like, and it's in my card room. These two. This was a piece when I saw it at the National I'd never seen before, and showed it to Eric Fourleaf, and we didn't know anything about him, and we went on eBay, and we're like, wow, there's a Mazeroski, or I'm sorry, not a Mazeroski, a Ralph Kiner. And he showed it to me, and I was like, oh, it just sold. And then it turns out it was sold because Eric bought it for me. And to be honest, guys, my musial collection, especially, a little bit the Clemente, but mostly the musial, would be half the size that it is if it wasn't for YouTube. I've been gifted so many items, and I'll try pointing out some of the ones that were gifted, that it's just so generous that people have done that. Another postcard of musial. This is a regional piece to Pittsburgh. Let me take this sticker off of it here. Yep, I just kind of ruined the slab. Not ruined it, because I can clean that off. But East Hills Clemente. And there's a bunch of pirates in this set. I would like to get the Stargell someday. And East Hills was a shopping center that is no longer there. This is one of my favorite pieces here. And I also have a Ralph Kiner of this, and there's DiMaggio. I think Ted Williams has one. It came out of a book. It's perforated right here. You can see where you can cut it. And there's, this one might not be punched out. I thought there was holes in the top where you could pin them. They're called pin-ups. I think these are from 1952. I think it's right where my finger is. I think the Kiner one is missing. I know it's missing this sleeve here. And every once in a while you'll see the book on eBay. What else we got here? Books. I've actually been looking at books and programs. You can get a lot of these cheap. I think I paid $8 for this thing. This is also from 1952. You see the yellow pages in it. It's weird, live music on the front, Preacher Row on the inside. And then you do have Roy Campanella on the inside. But the rest is just stats and stories. Oh, I guess there are pictures. There's Ferris Fane in between it. I've never really sat down and looked at this as closely as I should. The Bowman baseball card, 1950 Bowman of Yogi. And on top of books, the magazines, another gift from a YouTuber. There are a lot of magazines out there. There's a Rawlings catalog that I want to get that has music on the front. A lot of the Rawlings stuff is really kind of cool. Here's a gift I got the other day from my father-in-law, and his wife, my mother-in-law, passed away 2 months ago, and we've just been going through stuff, and he said, here, have this. And he's a huge Ted Williams fan. He grew up in Boston, and I don't know how old this is, but it was framed in 1973. So the photo's at least 52 years old. I don't think it's really worth anything, but it's kind of a neat piece to have. And it's from my father-in-law, so that's cool. Another musial. I guess I should quit saying that. I'm saying another musial after every one. They're all pretty much going to be musial. This is from a believe it's like a souvenir shop. I think it's called Jay's, across the street from Yankee Stadium. You can get these photos. I may have the name wrong. I'm kind of drawing a blank on it. As I mentioned, Rollins pieces. Now this wasn't given to me from a YouTuber. I bought it from a YouTuber, but I got a really nice price on it. And again, Rollins piece. Bought this off of a guy who used to beat me out on eBay for all the Museo stuff and had a great collection, and then he ended up getting rid of it. So I bought this photo pack off of him, and I tried getting him on my show with John, Wade Boggs fan. Two Guys One Hobby, but he's a pretty private guy and he didn't want any parts of it, so I understand. Another gift, a remake of the '54 Red Heart Museum. You know, wooden piece that I hang on the wall. Don't collect a ton of Museo autographs. I've actually got more Museo autographs from YouTubers, I think, but this is one I picked up cheap. Just a nice photo of him with his autograph on it that I hang on the wall. What else do I have here? YouTube gifts. Plates. This one is celebrating his 3,000 hit. And this is the 5 homers he hit in a doubleheader. There's on the wall. One more Clemente. Got this cheap at one of the shows too. You know, as I said earlier, I was just looking to come away with something. Here's another fantastic gift. I believe this is a type 1 photo, and then on the back is the actual newspaper clipping for where the photo was used. So, cherished piece. Piece I just bought off of eBay and had it framed. You know, I think I paid $5 for it, but I like it. And then the last piece I want to show, another gift from a YouTuber. Like I said, most of my collection is from YouTubers, and this is from 1943. And you can tell it's seen a little wear, but overall it's pretty good. And I would like to get this matted someday or get it framed, and it's very fragile, so that's why I really need to get something done with it. And actually most of the paper in here talks about the war, you know, 1943 right in the middle of it, rather than baseball. But it's, you know, I guess it's not even a baseball magazine, it's called Young America. So, well, I'm starting to feel like Dylan here, going on and on, but just want to get on here and share part of my collection that I really enjoy, even though I'm not getting the cards like I used to, and I do miss that, but I still enjoy my collection, and I just wanted to share it with some of you guys, or not some of you guys, with all you guys. So as always, thanks for watching my show, and I'll talk to you soon.